Good morning, all. Thank you for joining. We'll be starting shortly. Just you could wait here and just go through the upcoming events that are coming up, and we'll resume soon. Thank you so much. A very warm good morning to all. Am I audible, Dr. Abhay? Your voice is muted, I guess. So we'll get started. Today we are having the second talk in the series No More for BIG awareness. Call 21 is now open from 1st July onwards till 16th August till 5:30 p.m. Venture Center is collaborating today with Ahmedabad University, AIC ISER Pune Seed Foundation, Deshpande Startups, Hubli Karnataka, D.Y. Patil University Foundation for Innovation, Incubation and Entrepreneurship, EUR Center, Anna University, Chennai, and Vishweshwara National Institute of Technology, Nagpur. Along with our outreach partners, we are happy to collaborate with Pune Knowledge Center and AIC Indian School of Business, Mohali. BIG, or the Biotech Ignition Grant Scheme, is a flagship program of BIRAC, which provides the right admixture of fuel and support to young startups and entrepreneurial individuals. In this talk series, you will understand the BIG scheme. This talk will be given by speaker Dr. Shalini Singh. We'll also get insights into patent accessibility and FTO. The speaker for this is Purvashi Joshi. And you will also hear from the grantee herself, Dr. Gitanjali Radhakrishnan, on the pointers to succeed at BIG application. So with this, I would want to give a brief bio of Dr. Shalini Singh. She holds PhD in chemistry from University of Pune. She has done her postdoctoral training from RMIT University, Melbourne. She has done 5+ years of research experience on synthesis and characterization of second and fourth compound semiconductor nanomaterials. She is a specialist in funding programs at Venture Center and is actively involved in the program management of BIG. With this, I would request Shalini to kindly start with understanding of BIG scheme.
Thank you, Pallavi, for the introduction, and good morning to all the participants, collaborators, and our outreach partners. I hope my screen is visible.
Yes, Shalini, it's full screen.
Okay. So as we all know, the big scheme is currently open and it will be open until 16th of August. So under Ministry of Science and Technology comes the Department of Biotechnology, which has led a non-for-profit company in March 2012, which we all know as Biotechnology Industry Research Assistant Council, that is BIRAC. So BIRAC has various funding schemes, and one such scheme is Biotechnology Ignition Grant. So across India, we have overall 8 partners who are implementing these schemes, and one of the partner is Venture Center. So the purpose to come up with the scheme was to foster generation of ideas which are having commercialization potential, support innovative ideas to establish proof of concept, and if you have established the proof of concept and if you want to upscale or validate this, and stimulate enterprise formation. Apart from this, you will be getting 50 lakhs grant in aid for a period of 18 months, and this funding is available for startup as well as individuals. So the scope, if you see the scope of and the highlights of the scheme, it is in form of grant in aid. Royalty and tech transfer fee clauses have been recently added, that is from call 16. You get to have mentoring, advisory, and referral support by your respective chosen BIG partner. You benefit from learning, visibility, and networking in events, which are organized by both BIRAC and as well as the BIG partners. And you get to opportunity to evaluate your ideas which you have proposed here. The common pool of experts will give suggestion how to improvise and make it more commercialization, which increase the commercialization potential of your proposal. Now, what is supported in this scheme? So if you have technology objectives, you want to validate your proof of concept, you want to de-risk the technology, you want to demonstrate the idea to an investors, or you have an idea which is having a commercialization potential, then all this can be supported under this scheme. Whereas if you want to just do plain exploratory research, you want to fund your PhD, or you don't have any plan for any technology or service, there is no novelty in the idea, or it is involving many clinical trials, or it is at a very later stage, having no commercialization potential, or involving many ethical risks, then these all are not supported under this scheme. So if we see the domains which BIG scheme covers, it is healthcare and medical biotech, industrial, agricultures, and others include analytical methods, new techniques, bioinformatics, etc. Now these broad domains are further divided into theme and sub-theme categories. So if you have any idea which is coming into the drugs category, then you may choose these sub-themes as drugs, which is including drug delivery, vaccine, cytopharma. Similarly, if you have ideas falling in agricultures, then it could be the sub-themes could be from fisheries, poultry, sericultures, aquaponics, etc. in collaboration with your big data or AI, ML, IoT automation. So any idea related to these sub-themes all are supported under big scheme. So if you see the process flow, typically the call is open twice a year. So once the call is closed, that is on 16th of August when the call closed, all the proposal will go for the eligibility round. After this eligibility round, there is a technical evaluation, which is the technical eligibility scene of the proposal. Once you clear that, an online review round is there where your proposal is assigned to 5 reviewers online. They score the proposal and there is a cutoff decided people falling above the cutoff are called for the presentation. Here is the first time when you will be facing the experts to present your idea. You will be given 8 minutes of time to present the idea, and all the committee members will be again scoring here. There will be again a cutoff decided, and people falling above the cutoff will be taken for the final round, and there will be one committee sitting which will decide the final who will be getting the BIG grant. So once you are selected, a due diligence will be again conducted by your respective chosen partner, and there will be agreement signing, and the first release of funds will happen. So if you see the typical time, it takes around 135 months, and the last two this process will be covered within 2 months of time. So eligibility, in a very brief way, I'll tell that for startup, if you're applying as a startup, you need to have minimum 51% owned by the resident Indian citizen. Registered company should be under 5 years old. Company can have their own R&D space, but in case they're not having, they need to get incubated. From the company, you have to figure out one committed project leader who should be a shareholder in your company, and he'll be responsible for all the technical and management aspect of the project, and he must be a graduate, which could be in any discipline. Whereas if you're applying as an individual, make sure you're an Indian citizen incubated in an technology business incubator. You should have completed your basic graduation, which could be in any discipline. And project leaders need to give their full time for the project. If you're coming from your non-for-profit organization, then make sure you have policies for faculty spin-off. Incubator, or why an incubator? Basically, an incubator is a dedicated physical facility which will provide access for your scientific work, mentoring, and give you an advisory support. Now, these incubators must have a formal approvals from either your executive head host institution or from BIRAC or from NSTDB. So the academic faculty people or the PhD student cannot claim their own research lab as an incubation space. So they must have a formal approvals from these hosts. And when you're applying, you will need to have a letter of intent from these incubators. And when you're selected and you're going for agreement signing, then you must have a MOU with the incubator. Your chosen incubator may or may not be your BIG partner. So among 8, I have shown the map. So from across India, you can choose any one partner. You need not choose which is near to your location. So any one partner can be your implementation partner who will help you to monitor the progress of your proposal. They will release the fund. But whereas when you want to do the scientific work and you want to carry out all the work related testing and prototyping and everything, and if you don't have your R&D space, then you have to get incubated, and this incubator can be closer to your location. So how is the evaluation done? So what are the parameters which experts look when they are giving the score? So your novelty is given 20 marks. The business plan or commercialization potential for your idea, what is your go-to market strategy, and what are your customers, whether it is having a potential business partner, mentors in your team will carry maximum 15 marks. And how is your team? How many people are there? Do you have advisors, mentors? Carry maximum 15 marks. How the proposal is technically viable carries the maximum marks, that is 30 marks. What value proposition or differentiation you're showing from this, which is the existing solution, will carry maximum 20 marks. Some marks are also allocated for the strategy you show to overcome the challenges with respect to IP, regulatory, or environmental. And how you have planned your 18 months of project plan with the proposed project, with the proposed budget, will also carry some marks. So quick tips and pointers when you're applying for the scheme, that your projects must be a proof of concept in nature. Novelty must be proposed in the proposal, and it should be technically feasible, doable. You must check for any IP barriers and that you have a freedom to operate this. clarity of business model must be emphasized and clear indication that PI wants to go for commercialization. Of course, a credible and complete team which will make the goals achievable in 18 months and in proposed budget. So this is the way you have to plan. When you're going for filling the application form, you will need to give the objectives which you want to do, their start of activity, end of activity, and indicator that these activities are achieved. So you will have to plan your milestones this way. So there will be 3 milestones spread over the 18 months where you will be giving the targets which you will be doing in a particular milestone and indicators that these targets are achieved. This is the budget heads given by BIRAC. So if you see the guidelines, these the heads are divided into this, and there is a capex for equipments, manpower, and your outsourcing services. So when you're planning your budget, please stick to these guidelines and the capex given. Do not exceed them. Now, if we see the success rate here, so we have been a partner from call 4 for this BIG scheme, and currently call 20 is going where the last result is going to be announced in this month. So if we see from till call 19, the number of proposals have been increasing. Even venture centers have number of proposal increased, but if you see in principle, approvals got is very less. So success rate is very less. So you need to prepare well while applying for this. Go through the guidelines, go through the application form. First, prepare for the each and every section and then apply. And if you need any mentoring or help for this, you can contact Venture Center. So I'll just cover a few success stories quickly. So this is Dr. Ranoya Nisal, who is a scientist in NCL, and she formed a company, Serigen Medi Products Private Limited, and applied for BIG. She got this grant for this product Seriosis. Now this is under animal trials, and she has raised for the follow-on funding also, that is Sibri. And she has come up with another 2 more products, that is Serimet and Seridrum, which are for breast cancers and wound care. And this was one of example of individual applicant who applied for BIG. Now he has formed his own company, Crescit, and he had an idea of converting this agriculture crop residue waste to materials for packaging and furniture application. Now he has various collaboration, national and international, and raised various follow-on funding after his completion of BIG project. One more example, Dr. Vaishali Kulkarni applied as was a PhD student, and she applied as an individual. Later on, formed a company, KB Calls. She applied for big grant in 2018, and she got the grant. And now she has raised various funding from top VC, Chirate Ventures and Exiler Ventures, and she has also been awarded L'Oreal Innovation Runaway Award. And very happy to say that applicants, can you please go on mute? The color palette which was used by the designer Kasha at Lakme Fashion Week was produced by KB Calls. So these are some of the social media or media coverages of our grantees which have been appeared in Pune Science Weekly. These posters you must have seen over the airport. These are a few more examples of our grantees getting covered by the media. And these are the products being showcased, which are soon going to hit the market, or some are under clinical trials. And if you see these 4 products, these were recently launched in Biotech Startup Expo, which was inaugurated by our Honorable Prime Minister. So our core team consists of me and Pallavi, who is taking care of the project management and monitoring. Mentoring is taken care by Dr. Premnath and Dr. Smita. Project management and financial management are taken care by Dr. Manisha and Shruti. So I thank you all for your kind attention. So if you have any queries regarding how to apply for this scheme, what is the eligibility, and if you want mentoring or help while filling this application form, you can please contact us over this email address, or you can also call us on this number. Thank you once again. Please connect on our social media handles. Thank you. Pallavi, I guess you're on mute, so we can't hear you.
Yeah, thanks, Shalini. Thank you for the talk and some insights on how one can prepare for the application. So as you have seen that she has covered one important point of unmet need and a novelty assessment, which has marks of 20. Most of us, when we apply, we think what we have done is very novel and and anybody else has not done it. But what in fact happens is when it goes to the experts, they see that there are similar proposals. So how we can prepare ourselves before application is actually check if there are any IP barriers, if you have freedom to operate, and you can do a novelty assessment. So for the next talk, Purvashi Joshi, who is Assistant Manager at IP Services at Venture Center, she would be talking about how you can go about doing the novelty assessment and how you would check if you have freedom to operate. The brief bio of Purvashi is, she's a registered patent agent at Indian Patent Office with PhD in pharmaceutical chemistry from Bharati Vidyapeeth Pune College of Pharmacy. She has completed her PG diploma in patents law from Nalsar University, Hyderabad. She has also completed a course on patent search and analytics conducted by National Program on Technology Enhanced Learning. She's experienced in the field of patent searching at Venture Center. She is responsible for setting up and managing prior art search desk, operate search and analytics services, conduct patentability assessments and FTOs, draft and prosecute patent applications. Prior to joining Venture Center, she was working at CSI at URTEP. I request Purvashi to please give the talk.
Good morning, all. Thank you, Pallavi Madam, for a brief introduction about me. Welcome to the second series of the second talk of the series. Today, we are going to learn about the patentability assessment as well as the freedom to operate. I think so. Slides are moving. I will just unshare and again share the slides.
You're on mute.
Yeah. Okay. So let's begin with the today's talk. They're moving as it is. Sorry for disturbance. Okay. Sorry for the disturbance. Now let's begin with the today's talk about introduction to freedom to operate and novelty assessment. So this is the very critical parameter in the BIG application. Let's see how our today's talk will move. So first, as we all aware about the intellectual property, we will just brush up our knowledge regarding intellectual property. Then we'll begin with the most critical parameter, that is the patentability assessment, and then freedom to operate. And then we'll end our talk with differentiation between patentability assessment and FTO. So as I think so most of the audience are aware about the term intellectual property. Intellectual property is an intangible asset. So intangible means it is not, it cannot be physically moved, and it is created by the human intellect. So it is the intellectual property. Most of the known examples of intellectual property are patents, copyright, trademarks, industrial designs, trade secrets, etc. So today's session will be most focused on patent. And what is the definition of patent? It is a type of intellectual property. So patents can be opted for the subject matter which is related to any device or any process or any apparatus or any machine or any improvement in the process or method or machine or apparatus. So for that subject matter we can apply for patent. Similarly, for other intellectual properties, like if you have any written work, then you can go for copyright. If you have any brand name to be protected, then you can go for trademark. So depending upon the subject matter, this type of intellectual property protection varies. In case of patents, if the inventor have some like patentable idea, then they can apply for certain protection in certain jurisdiction. So these patents are for have territorial rights, and what rights are given are the exclusive legal rights which are given to owner, that is creator of that invention, for making, using, selling, copying, importing or any such action related to that invention. These exclusive rights are given to the owner of that intellectual property. As I have said that these rights are given to owner, some extra rights are also given to owner to exclude others from using, making, selling, importing, copying the invention. So we can say patent rights are negative rights, and these negative rights are mostly assessed in case of freedom to operate. So remember, these are the negative rights. You can exclude others from using, selling, making the invention. These patent rights are for limited period rights. That is, in most of the countries, it is for 20 years. In some country, it is applicable to have a patent extension term, but most of the countries the patent rights are for 20 years. These rights are territorial right, as I have mentioned. So if you wanted to have protection for the patent in certain jurisdiction, then you can go to that patent office and you can have the patent right, and that right cannot be exercised in other jurisdiction as they are territorial rights. So this parameter is also important in case of assessing the freedom to operate. The basic criteria for patentability is your invention have to pass the nonce test. Now what is the nonce test? It is novelty, utility, non-obviousness and subject matter. So your invention should be novel, it should have some industrial applicability, it should have non-obvious criteria, and it must not fall within the ambit of certain subject matters which are disclosed by Indian Patent Office, which are not patentable. So in further slides I am going to explain about this nonce test. Now most of the information available that is in public domain is covered in patent. So if you see 80% of information is already is available from the patents. So it is very much important to go for the or look for the patents while performing any research. So depending on the objective of your search for patent, there are different types of patent searches which are performed. So if you look, if you consider the journey of a product from discovery to entry into the market, this type of patent searches can help us at the intermediate stages. So if you go from discovery to idea screening or designing a proof of concept, then the state-of-art search or patent landscape can help you to guide in like what are the white spaces or what are the areas where research have not done, and if you are stuck up with any problem, then how others have solved that problem. To look after that, this reports will help us. Now from idea screening, if you are ready with your proof of concept and you want to develop the product on that proof of concept, then you have to first go and file your invention as a provisional specification in the patent office. So before filing that, you have to consider the patentability criteria. So in that sense, complete patentability report can help us to design, go for application and design your product further. At this stage, freedom to operate can also help, as freedom to operate will give you idea how the already existing solutions have legal rights in that jurisdiction, and then you can design around or invent around your product. Similarly, freedom to operate search helps in entry into the I want to enter into a market, but we will need to see that whether this entry is enforcing and infringing any others active patent or not. For that, freedom to operate is done before entry of the product into the market. So from this slide, you can get the idea about how the types of patent searches helps in the drug discovery or drug development or any product development journey. Now we will see the first critical parameter as mentioned in the BIG application, that is patentability assessment. From my initial slide, you got to know that for the invention to be patentable, it should pass the criteria or pass the test of nones, that is novelty, utility, non-obviousness and subject matter. So we will first see what is the novelty criteria. Now novelty means your invention should not be the part of state of art. State of art means prior art. So your invention should not be anticipated or should not be available into the public domain in any form. Like it should not be published anywhere in the document. It should not be used in any country or worldwide, or it should not be priorly claimed in any patent application, or it should not form any part of traditional knowledge, or it should not be orally disclosed in the public before the date of filing. So if you are going to file the patent application today, so prior art will be considered before today. All the publications, its use, its prior claiming, or it is not the part of traditional knowledge, or it is not orally disclosed. And anywhere this disclosure should not happen anywhere. Anywhere means in your country of interest as well as world. So remember here, novelty is considered, though you wanted to protect in a particular country, it is considered or it is assessed in whole, worldwide or throughout the world, it is assessed. So here the patent rights are given for a particular jurisdiction, but while applying for the patent, the novelty is the most important criteria, and that is assessed worldwide. So do not get confused that this patent invention is not patented in India, but if it is patented in other part of the country or other part of the world, then also it is lacking your, or it is killing your novelty. So this is most important parameter to be considered here. In case of novelty, absolute novelty is required. For example, if your invention is having three features, A, B and C, if you find a document which is having A and B feature but not C feature, then will document kill your novelty? No, because absolute novelty is required in case of for going for the patentability. Like for example, suppose consider superimposed image of your invention is not available in the public, then your invention is novel. So in case of novelty, no combination of one or two documents are considered while assessing the novelty. Absolute novelty is required. Now there are two types of innovations. One is radical innovation and another is incremental innovation. In case of radical innovation, it is also disruptive innovation. So there is no existing technology is there in public domain, and for there is some problem related to that, and then you are finding a solution. So there is no as such any technology related to that problem is available. So that is the radical innovation. And in the radical innovation case, novelty is easily can be established. But in case of incremental innovations, as it is the modification or upgrading of the existing technology, so in case of incremental innovations, non-obviousness or technical advancement is considered as compared to the novelty parameters. So let's have a look at this Venn diagram. In the first case, the pink hole or pink circle indicates the scope of claim of invention A, that is in public domain, and blue part is your invention. So with respect to this A case, whether your invention is novel or not, then as it is covering inside the scope of invention A, hence it is not novel. And in the second criteria, the blue hole, that is your invention, is not forming a part of the already existing prior art. Hence your invention is novel. So this will help you to understand novelty better. Now, what are the steps to assess the novelty? So you have some concept or you have any hypothesis in your mind. Then how to assess the novelty of that invention is, first you fragment your invention into key features. Like as I've said, invention have three important parameters or three important features. Then fragment your invention in that three features. Try to find out the prior arts with the help of different databases, like free databases are available, as well as Google searching or Google Scholar is available. On that you can try to search closest prior art with respect to these three key features. But if you find the prior art which explicitly and inherently mentions all these key features in a single document, then that document will be considered as your novelty killing document for your invention. So remember, here a single document is necessary to assess the novelty of your invention, and not combination of 2 or 3 documents. So as I have said, the anticipatory disclosure must be entirely comprised within a single document. And if you find the documents which are like, if you combine 2 or more documents and then your invention is it is forming your invention, then that documents are not considered as a novelty killing or novelty lacking documents, and your invention is novel with respect to that. Let's have one example. One claim like composition is there in which is used for corneal healing in eye. It comprises of vitamin A as well as sterile buffer. And like I have fragmented this invention into one, its composition, its use for corneal healing, its component as vitamin A and sterile buffer. I have searched on the databases as well as Google search engine. Then I found one document which states the eye drop, that is its use in eye conditions, having vitamin A, sterile buffer as well as other excipients. So here if you consider the A, B, C features of your invention, they are completely covered in prior art. So this prior art can act as a novelty killing for your invention. Now let's move towards the second criteria for patentability, that is non-obviousness, also called as the inventive steps. So in Nunn's test, it is the second N, that third letter, that is second N, that is non-obviousness. So what is non-obviousness? Non-obviousness is a feature of invention which provides technical advancement to the existing knowledge. it also gives any economic significance, and if your invention have this one of the parameter or both the parameters, then your invention is inventive or non-obvious. Here, while assessing the non-obviousness, certain category or certain group of persons are taken into account, and that group of persons are called as a person skilled in the art. So a person skilled in the art is the hypothetical person actually having the idea or knowledge in the art, and it have the ability to use the ordinary technical mean for research and development. So let's simplify this condition. What is non-obviousness? It is the technical advancement of the existing knowledge. It provides some economic significance, and it is not obvious, or it is not easily thought by any person skilled in the art. Person skilled in the art is different from the ordinary person. That person have some technical knowledge or have some ability to carry out the research and development. So that is the person skilled in the art. So always novelty is assessed by keeping in mind person skilled in the art and not the ordinary person. Now, as I have said, in novelty, you have to consider the single document. But in case of non-obviousness, combination of documents can be considered. That is called as a mosaicing. Or if your invention have some features A, B, C, you found the prior art which states feature A, you found another prior art which states feature B, you found another third prior art which states feature C. And if you combine these three prior arts, and if you are arriving at your invention with ABC feature, then this three prior arts as a combination or as a mosaic can kill your non-obviousness criteria for patentability. Now let's take one illustrative example for this. Here in brown, you can see a teapot having a lid as well as a handle and two spouts, right? And I want to assess its non-obviousness. Then I will go and search for the prior art over the free databases as well as Google search engine. Then I found this 4 prior arts. So if we consider D1, then it's a teapot with one spout, one lead and one handle. Then I found another second prior art in which there is a vehicle who is having 2 spouts for spraying the liquid and its application in agro industry. Then I found third prior art having the filter which is generally used with a coffee maker but having 2 spouts. Then I found fourth prior art in which there is a one bottle for oil as well as vinegar, and this two bottle, like one bottle is inside another bottle and having 2 openings which are arranged at a certain height, so that if you want to pour oil, then vinegar will not come out, and if you want to pour vinegar, then oil will not come out. So while assessing the non-obviousness of this teapot having lead, handle and 2 spouts at a certain height, if we combine D1, D2, D3 and D4, the person skilled in the art. So in this case, person skilled in the art means the person having ordinary knowledge about the construction of the teapot as well as how the concept of pouring of the tea from that teapot. So that person can easily arrive at this teapot, as the idea for one spout, lead and handle will be derived from D1. Then 2 spouts for spraying liquid will be derived from D2. Then its use in coffee maker will be derived from D3, and adjustment of height so that only one liquid will come out at a time will be derived from D4. So if we combine all this D1, D2, D3, D4, then our invention becomes obvious. So there is no technical advancement with respect to all this D1, D2 and D4, and it will not be patentable with respect to this cited prior arts. One more example to illustrate this is the invention is related to isolated DNA sequence encoding the human IL-3 protein, and in this protein structure, proline residue is there at the position 8. And this DNA sequence or this protein is useful in bone marrow proliferating or inducing activity in human bone marrow proliferation assays. Now I will go and try to search for the similar type of IL-3 protein sequence, and I found one document where this proline residue is replaced with serine residue. Will my invention be obvious with respect to this prior art? Obviously, my invention will be novel with respect to this prior art, but it will not be non-obvious, or it will be obvious to persons skilled in the art. Now we'll see how. The single variation of amino acid at the position 8 from proline to serine, and this to proline and serine belongs to the same category of amino acid. So this change is not causing any change in the chemical property or any change in the activity and or any change in the function of the protein. So there is no technical advancement, and as they belongs to the same category of class, the replacement is very obvious to persons skilled in the art. So this invention is not considered to be not considered to be patentable, or doesn't have any inventive step with respect to the prior art that we found. So I think so you have got some idea how to assess the novelty and inventiveness with respect to the prior arts. Now this is just the steps that are generally followed. So if you have one invention, then determine what are the important features of that invention. Try to find out the closest prior art with the help of some keywords, then search strategy building in case of paid databases as well as free databases, and determine the closest prior arts. Then try to determine the differentiation points between the claimed invention and the closest prior art. If you found there is no difference, the closest prior art and claimed invention is identical, then you are lacking the novelty and your invention will not be patentable. If you found some differences, then try to understand whether this differentiating points are obvious or they are non-obvious, have some technical advancement on economical significance with if we consider the person, if we understand the person skilled in the art. Then if you have any obvious or no technical advancement is there, then you are lacking the inventive step. And if your invention becomes non-obvious or passes the non-obviousness criteria, then your invention is inventive or having the inventive patentability, passing the patentability criteria for novelty and non-obviousness. The third criteria for patentability is utility, that is industrial applicability, and most of the invention try to pass the industrial applicability criteria for patentability, as most of the inventions are brought or came in the mind of the inventor to solve certain problems. So they obviously have industrial applications, and this criteria is fulfilled very easily, or it is very easily achievable criteria. Now in Patents Act Section 3, there are certain subject matters which are mentioned which are not patentable due to some inventions are frivolous to the morality of public domain, or they are injurious to the public domain. So patent office do not allow patenting of such inventions. So some of them are discovery of a scientific principle, as scientific principles are already there in the public exist in the public domain. So there is no such it is only a discovery, and we are not deriving that scientific principle. They are not novel with respect to the existing knowledge, so they are not patentable. Some arrangement, rearrangement of a known devices are not patentable. Plants or animals as a whole are not patentable. The exception is genetically modified microorganisms. Then method of agriculture or horticulture, they are not patentable. Then some processes for medical, surgical, curative, diagnostic, therapeutic are not patentable because of economic benefits. If someone have monopoly with respect to these processes, then for the human being it will not be good. They will for getting the monetary benefits, they can price as high as much, so it will be harmful to human beings. So these subject matters are not patentable. Mathematical as well as business methods, they are not patentable. They come under the ambit of copyright. Topography circuits, they are not patentable. Traditional knowledge is also not patentable. So for the turmeric case, if you know about the patent of turmeric in US, it is objected by India by with respect to the traditional knowledge criteria. So turmeric is not novel for its antiseptic use, and that also patent got abandoned in US. Now before patent filing, just have a look that please don't publish your invention, don't commercialize your invention, don't disclose your invention, maintain the confidentiality till you first file your application. Also there is one grace period is available. If you have already published, commercialized or disclosed your invention, then in our country, like in India, within 1 year if you file patent application, then this anticipation is allowed. So grace period of 1 year is allowed in India. So it is requested not to publish, commercialize, disclose before filing of a first patent application. Now the second important criteria with respect to the BIG application is freedom to operate. Now let's see what is freedom to operate. It's a process, or the report is done with the help of one process to investigate whether the specific action, what specific action, making, using, selling, importing, copying the invention can be performed without infringing any other enforceable or active patent that is owned by other. So before entry of or commercialization of the product, this report is very much necessary. And one important point here is, though you have patented invention, it is not always you have freedom to operate. Means you have patent for that invention, but it is not always that you can practice your invention in the market. Before practicing into the market, you have to go for looking for the freedom to operate. This will be you will understand this in the illustrated example, why all patented invention are not having freedom to operate. So freedom to operate, result of freedom to operate comes in two ways: either positive freedom to operate or negative freedom to operate. Positive freedom to operate means you have allowed entry into the market, and negative freedom to operate means you are not able to enter into the market, though as there is some active patent exist in the public domain, so you cannot enter into the market. This is just to make differentiation between patentability and freedom to operate. In case of freedom to operate, you consider or you look for only your patent, you prior art with respect to your patent, novelty, inventive step of your patent. But in case of freedom to operate, you have to consider others' patent. What is the scope of that other patent? What are the countries in which protection is there for others' patent? And what is the validity of that other patent? So while patentability, you have to consider your invention, your patent, and with respect to freedom to operate, you have to consider others' patent. So having a patent is not always you have a freedom to operate. Now, why freedom to operate is to be performed? So from this couple of slides, you might have got the idea. To enter or commercialize your product, sale, market, use your product or process, you have to check whether you are not infringing any other's IP. So before entry into the market, you have to perform the freedom to operate or freedom to oppress, freedom to practice or clearance search. Also, in some time, to assist the research and development, you can go for freedom to operate. Like if you are like designing your product, and if you are done with the freedom to operate, and you got to know that there is some invention which exists in the like public domain, and it is active or live patent is there, then you can design around or you can invent. Or if you found that no patent is there, then you can consider that as a white space, and then you can go much more detail in that invention. So before having a research and development, you can go for freedom to operate. It is also helpful to identify potential opportunities for licensing, cross licensing, as well as mergers and acquisition in future. So if you, after doing freedom to operate, if you found that some part of my invention is under legal protection of some other company, then you can go and ask for licenses, cross licenses, as well as if you want to merge with that company, you can go for it. Now, what literature is to be considered for freedom to operate? If you are doing freedom to operate on free databases, then what literature is to be considered? So, as freedom to operate search while conducting FTO, we consider others patent which are live and active, or which are having some legal protection. As I have mentioned, the term for patenting is 20 years term. So, for that 20 years, if inventor have paid the maintenance fee, then that patents are live and active, and that patent may cause some infringement issues if you do not consider the freedom to operate of your invention before entering into the market. So live and active granted patents are to be considered. In some cases, patent applications are also considered which are under prosecution stage, as patent applications might like in future might get granted, and that may cause hurdle to your invention. So patent applications are also considered. In some cases, non-patent literature is also considered. Though non-patent literature do not give you any legal right, but in non-patent literature, sometimes it is mentioned about the product launch. And if product is launched, then that company might have any active patent. So the idea for that active patent you can get from the non-patent literature. So that also should be taken into consideration. As I have said, 20 years term is there for patent. So you can filter or restrict your search for last 20 years. That will give you the fruitful patent literature. In some countries also patent term extension is allowed. So in that country, 5 years term extension is allowed, specifically in US. So if you want to enter into US, you are looking for jurisdiction of US, then you have to consider 25 years of period. So last 25 years you have to consider. Sometimes abandoned patents are also to be considered. Abandoned because of non-payment of annual fees, because in that case some countries have window for revival or restoration of the patent. So the company might restore the patent, and that might cause hurdle in future to you. Also, the freedom to operate search is always done with follow-up search. So before entry into the market, we have to always always be updated with the follow-up search. Then also WIPO applications for last 3 years. WIPO means that is the Patent Cooperation Treaty, PCT route is there. Along with this national filings, you can file a single application at PCT, and you can provide the countries where you want want to enter, and you will get the 31 months period. After that, you can enter into the national phase. So before this 31 months period, the PCT applications are published. So that applications are also needed to be considered, because after 31 months, that might enter into the national country where you want to market your product. So WIPO applications are also needed to be considered while conducting the FTO. So with the help of FTO, researcher, innovators, corporate or business developers will be benefited. They will get the idea to launch the product or not. Also, some of the companies which are importing or product or selling within a certain jurisdiction, then that company is also considered the FTO. When to perform the FTO? At early stage you can perform, at late stage you can perform, also at in between also product development you can perform the FTO. Also prior to acquisition of any company, you can consider the FTO. If you are planning to invest in your any company, then you can consider FTO in that case also. If you have research tree, like two or four options are in front of you, you have to go for one option. In that case also you can check for FTO. How to perform the FTO is in case of novelty as well as non of business, as I have said, fragment your invention into key features. Try to find out the prior art with respect to each key feature. Then in FTO there are some restrictions are to be applied while searching, that only the patent documents which are live or active and which are like last 20 or 25 years patent applications or granted patents, as well as jurisdiction restriction where you want to market that country. These restrictions are applied while performing the patent search. Then prior arts are retrieved. Then they are looked for their legal status, whether they are in force, they are expired, whether they are abandoned, what is the reason behind abandonment, is it non-payment of the maintenance fee. Such features, such parameters to be considered while deciding the closest prior art. And then you can map your features of the invention with respect to that closest prior art, and then you can arrive at a opinion for FTO, whether you have positive FTO or not. As I have said, the patent information can be searched on free databases like Patent Scope. You can freely use this databases. Patent Scope, USPTO, eSpaceNet. For India, it is InPass, Google Patents, Lens.org. These are free databases, as well as some paid databases with added advantage over to the free databases are available. Some special domain databases are available, like for chemical structure, you can go for SciFinder, Reaxys, STN search. For biosequences also, Orbit Biosequence. For traditional knowledge, TKDL is the free database that is available. Also, you can request or you can have the service from any legal firm or facilitation centers like Venture Center for the patent search. So this is one example how to evaluate the FTO. Consider the product A having 7 components. So this product A, the first component that is marked in orange is already freely available. So the patent term for this orange component is already expired. This gray components as well as the green component have patent rights, but they are with product startup company. Then the pink component have the live patent, but it is with third party. Now, like you can answer, you have the positive freedom to operate or negative. Then it is negative, obviously, because this pink component have the active legal rights with third party. So what you will do in case if you have negative freedom to operate, either you can remove this ball and replace with the another component which is freely or available in the public domain, or you can design around and invent around and then again check for freedom to operate of that whole component or whole product, or you can buy or you can license with that company who is having the patent right over this pink component, or you can challenge the validity of this patent, or like you can oppose this patent, that this patent is not valid, and if result comes in your with respect to your like validity of the patent, then you can have the that patent application will become free to use, and you will have the positive FTO. There are some scenarios where the partial FTO is also there. Positive as well as negative and partial FTO is also there. So if you consider first scenario where pink circle shows your invention, blue circle shows competitor invention, there is no overlap between two, then you have freedom to operate and you can easily enter into the market. In second scenario, that is B scenario, you have a product, green product that is based on this patent, orange patent. You have already granted orange patent that is depicted in orange color. Competitor also have blue granted patent that is depicted in blue color. If you want to enter into the this green product, you want to enter into the market, then you have freedom to operate. Yes, obviously, because it is not covering into the competitor set. But similarly, competitor red can enter into the market? No, because it is coming under your granted patents ambit. So competitor cannot enter. In case of C scenario, if you look, the competitor have its own prior art, own patent. You also have own patent. You are designing around you have designed the red product. Then you have freedom to operate. Yes, that red product have freedom to operate because it is not coming under competitor's act, and competitor like green will not have freedom to operate because it is covered into the your patent granted patent ambit or boundaries. In case of D, you have red product that is depicted as red. Competitor have product as depicted as green. Then both of them will not have freedom to operate as both are coming under the boundaries of the granted patent of you as well as competitor. So there are some criteria where positive, negative as well as partial freedom to operate also exist. In case of partial freedom to operate, you can license or you can ask for the company who is having the legal right for that component, and then you can enter into the market. So what are the strategies after FTO determination? The case where one or more enforceable patents are exist, then you can design around, invent around, or you can ask for license, or you can oppose to the validity of that patent. If there is no granted or active patent exist, then you can directly enter into the market. But before entering into the market, just keep in mind that you have applied for any IP protection and then enter into the market. And there are some cases where no conclusive FTO can arrive. So which are that cases? In active patent is there, but exact boundary of the active patent is not mentioned in the prior art, then in that case no conclusive FTO can be arrived. This is one of the example. So inventor have some novel dental implant material where the polymer is PEEK, in which the coating hydroxyapatite is a coating agent used, and silver as a doping agent is used, which who is claiming the antimicrobial properties. So in that case, I fragmented my invention into the dental implant, that is feature 1, then polymer, peak polymer, that is feature 2, coating material, that is feature 3, and doping agent, that is silver, feature 4 and antimicrobial properties. So after searching into the free as well as paid databases, I found two prior arts. One is the in-force or the live or the active patent, and the second one was application stage patent. And if I map the claims which are patented in the closest prior arts with respect to my invention, I found that the in features A, B, C, D are mentioned in D1 as well as D2. So that inventor cannot enter into the market until this D1 expires. So 2027 was the expiry date of the D1 patent. So either he cannot enter till 2027, or else he can invent around, or else he can ask for license with the company of this D1 patent. So in recommendation, we have written that may not have freedom to operate with respect to D1 until the date where the patent is going to expire, and with respect to patent application D2, that is not granted patent, it is an application stage, but we have to consider that patent because in future that might get granted, and if that gets granted, then its expiry is 2029. So till that inventor will not have freedom to operate, or he cannot enter into the market. Now as a conclusive remark, what are the differentiation points between patentability assessment and freedom to operate? So scope of search, if we consider patentability assessment, we have to consider all published art. There is no limitation for country or jurisdiction. There is no limitation for patent as well as patent or non-patent literature. There is no restriction for the time or 20 years period. You have to consider all the prior art, all the published document that is in prior art. But in case of freedom to operate, you have to consider only claims and description part of the active patent, and that to jurisdiction you have to look for, and the term, that is 20 years, 20 or 25 years, you have to look for. When to do patentability search is generally done at the early stages, where you are actually developing the prototype, or where you have to enter, file the patent application. In that case, you have to do for the patentability assessment. Freedom to operate is generally done before launching. Also, it helps if you do it in the early stages. There is no jurisdiction restriction for patentability assessment. As I have said, though patent is a territorial right, while considering the criteria for patentability, you have to consider worldwide public disclosure of the document. So jurisdiction restriction is not there. In case of freedom to operate, you have to look for the jurisdiction where you want to enter. Date restriction is not there in case of patentability assessment, while in freedom to operate, 20 years, in some countries 25 years period you have to consider. What questions are solved by patentability assessment? Whether my invention is patentable or not according to the governing law. So in case of India, Nuns test you have to follow. So and most of the countries, Nuns test is the only criteria that you have to pass for patentability. And freedom to operate will answer whether I can practice a well-defined invention in one or more country beginning at a specific time. Are there any enforceable patent that might restrict my entry into the market? Patentability search is very quick, and it is not much expensive as compared to freedom to operate. It is also time-consuming search. Now, just to end here, at Venture Center under TechX, we do support this information search and analytic reports. We have subscription to 3 paid databases: SciFinder, Questal Orbit, and Derwent Innovation. So if you wanted to have more idea about like us, what services we provide, you can check our website www.techx.in. So thank you. The forum is available for questions.
Ma'am, can you just go to the slide just before the thank you? I wanted to take a screenshot. Yeah, this one.
Most of the information is taken from WIPO. You can check WIPO site. All the like formats of report, as well as what are the types of report, etc. All the information is available at WIPO.
You can take up the questions in the chat box, if there are any. What's the first question? First, we'll answer the IP queries and then we'll come to the eligibility.
Okay. The email ID. Can you elaborate? As a proof of concept stage, can we go for design patent for novel device structure? The first question is, at proof of concept, can we go for design patent for novel structure, especially in designing microfluidic chip, and then convert it into the actual patent? So at the proof of concept, you can file the provisional patent application, and where we have to just mention, like we have to just say our, like it is not necessary to have actual product at the time of provisional specification filing. Just the proof of concept, or what is our hypothesis, it can be mentioned, or it can be filed in the provisional specification. You just but in that case you have to write it in a broad way, so that if you at the time of complete specification filing, if there is any part that is not mentioned in the provisional specification, that part we cannot claim in complete specification. So broadly we can file provisional specification at the proof of concept stage for the design patent of microfluidic chip. Also, patent can be filed, as well as industrial design protection can also be sought for the microfluidic chip.
Okay. The second question.
Excuse me, am I audible?
Yeah.
Sorry, I just want to clarify one more thing. Just I raised the previous question. So, excuse me. So, I mean, you describe about there are, let's say, there is some inventions which comprises of 4 different aspects, like with the teapot example, what you have shown. But the actual combination is a novel thing, and if works better than the one, then it cannot be a, I mean, how can we justify it's not a novel thing? I mean, can you clarify on that one? Because
yeah. With respect to that teapot thing, if you consider, the teapot is completely novel, as same or superimposed image of that teapot is not available into the prior art. But there is a problem with respect to obviousness. So if you want to prove the obviousness, then you have to show some technical advancement with respect to, suppose if you take the example of any drug or any chemical structure, you are just modifying the structure by using different functional group attached to it, then you have to show higher or enhanced, substantially enhanced therapeutic effect. And in that therapeutic effect, you cannot consider like, or you cannot say solubility is increased, or its melting point is decreased, or its stability is decreased. You have to show the pharmacological action where that drug is going to be used. So for what purpose you are going to use your invention, in that sense, if any technical advancement, and that technical advancement should be substantially higher with respect to already existing solutions. So that teapot, if it is showing like teapot is for pouring the liquid, and if it is showing some like substantially higher technical advancement with respect to pouring of the tea or milk, then the obviousness parameter can be like criteria can be passed.
so is that obviousness is definitely mandatory, or for claiming patents?
Yeah, obviousness, like invention should be non-obvious, and this is the mandatory criteria for patentability. Only novelty will not suffice the patentability criteria. All these 4 parameters have to be passed for patentability.
Okay. Oh, thanks, ma'am. Thanks for clarification.
Yeah. Take up the next question. This one about the FTO.
Yeah.
Read it out loud.
What is your opinion regarding FTO search requirement for filing BIG application, as applicants are very early stage and spending so much on FTO search? They don't consider.
So do you recommend that they do FTO at an early stage like the?
Yeah, FTO can be done at the early stage, as I have said, because at the early stage, if you found that the same like invention that you have is already under any legal protection at the early stage only, then you can design around or invent around, and you can arrive at the invention which is novel or non-obvious and which have positive FTO. So at the early stage, it is recommended to do FTO search.
Okay. Next question is.
Ma'am, just similar to the question which you answered just now, I wanted to know that this FTO, because now we are filling up the form, our own ideas, right? So whatever idea has come, we have done that. Now you are saying that even at as in your talk also you had mentioned that at any stage we can do FTO. Now since it's the early stage and even before submitting the form to you, we can do this FTO here itself in our institute.
You're saying as an inventor or as an individual, can you do FTO? Yeah. Obviously, because there are some free databases that I have mentioned in my slides. So you can use that free databases to search the information. Only the problem with free databases is you will get like number of reasons which are not relevant as well. So that is the advantage of paid databases over the free databases. But surely you can do the freedom to operate with the help of free databases, and all patent documents are available freely over the either eSpaceNet, like European Patent Office site or Indian Patent Office site or US Patent Office site. Also Google Patent show the free patent document, whole patent document, and you can analyze that patent document for your FTO. So as an individual also you can do.
Ma'am, do we have authorized people like to whom we can send our idea before submitting the form to BIG? And just get the clearance that, okay, fine, such type of thing is not available and we can go ahead with the work.
Yeah, here at the Venture Center, we have techx.in type like kind of project, under which we support search and analytics of reports. Also, we do support for BIG application where abridged patentability as well as FTO is needed. So we do support for that. You can check our website for the other terms and pricing.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Yeah. So the next question was about the cost to do FTO.
The cost for FTO actually it varies. Also for doing the comprehensive freedom to operate search, as it is the legal matters. So it depends upon the different firms how they cost. So it varies. It is not the fix for every firm. Also, it varies depending upon whether you want to have freedom to operate in one country or you have to enter into multiple countries. So depending that also freedom to operate varies or cost varies.
Ma'am, I've asked that question. So basically, like average cost, in the sense, where do we stand in life? It is under 10,000, it is under 50,000, it is under 1 lakh, it is 2 lakhs, 5 lakhs, 10. Where do we stand in life? साधारणतः कुठे उभे आहोत FTO search ला?
Okay. I don't know about the other firms that provide this service, but if you go for like our service, we have approximately around 10,000 cost for one country FTO.
Wonderful. Acha, ma'am, coming to the this thing, I have a query. See, my product comes under food technology.
Hmm.
Now, yesterday only I was searching on internet and everything. So I came across this TBI for BIRAC. That's A idea, idea. That is ICAR, promoted by ICAR and National Academy of Agricultural Research Management, Hyderabad. ICAR NARM, basically. So I spoke with them. They said that my food technology, this thing can come under agriculture and food tech. They have got clear for food technology and agriculture. They have got a clear mandate. Because I asked them, see, BIRAC is biotechnology, and you are NARM. Then how are you doing BIRAC, big scheme? So he said, we are doing for agriculture and food technology. That's what the gentleman told me. So then, while selecting my incubator or my where to apply, is it better I go with them, or I should go with any other somebody like yours venture?
Yeah. So I will like to answer this question. So if you had seen my slides, there were various themes and sub-themes categories. So it's not only biotechnology. You have themes like devices, diagnostics, drugs, agriculture, industrial biotech. And under that comes food. If you choose agriculture, under that comes food technology, etc. So whichever themes, sub-themes falling under these categories, you can choose any, and you can choose any partner among 8 partners. It's not necessary that it has to be specific to that.
Yeah, ma'am, the food technology doesn't involve any, this is hardware and electronics that will make up the food technology. This doesn't have any research in the sense, any bio research or a cellular level research or anything with food material. This is food cooking technology.
You are applying for this big scheme, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, when you're yes. So when you're applying for this scheme, you can choose any partner that will be just implementing your BIG program. So in that, if you get any queries regarding how to go ahead, or they will connect to the respective expert from that domain also. So it is not required that you have to stick to particular partner. You can choose any partner from the 8.
Any partner. So
Yes, all will be helping with this BIG schemes.
Okay. All right, ma'am. And ma'am, are you going to take any workshop for writing the application? I mean, my idea, my perception is that writing the application is a big task. We all have got our concepts.
You had attended our talk on 1st of July. We had one on the grant writing and how to write the proposal.
No, I guess I didn't. I guess I missed it. How to write.
Okay. So, but you can connect to us over the email and we can see it later.
Okay.
If you need any help with this proposal filling.
Okay, ma'am. All right. Thank you. Thank you.
There was a next question on sharing the contact numbers of team members. So we have put it in the chat box. And the second question is, if 2 applications are received for a similar technology, then who is granted with the patent?
If 2 applications are received for a similar technology, who is granted with the patent? So in India, it is first to file. So who will file first the patent application will have the granted patent. And in case of second application, the first patent application that is filed by the other person will act as a prior art, and it will kill the novelty. So first to file is the case in India. What happens to other one? The other application will be refused because of lack of patentability criteria. What should be done by the latter one in such cases? Either he can stop that idea, or he can invent or design around so that there is no prior art for that. So the second one can go for that. Do we need to produce some certificate or report from some authority in case of FTO? I don't know about if BIG requires any certificate or
No,
for FTO.
no, we don't require a certificate.
Ma'am,
Yes.
you have been saying a word called prior art. Prior art. What is that?
Prior art means the art or any information that is already exist into the public domain before your application or before your invention.
Okay.
That is prior art.
Got it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. So can we?
Ma'am, just wanted to ask, like, in case you said that mathematical formulations can't be patented. So what about AI-based systems? Because AI, like, if we talk about, most of the systems are built on the prior publications and prior art, right? So how to go about AI-based, patent?
Yeah, with respect to AI, what exactly is patented is by using that AI, what device or any product you are developing, then that product or device or that method or that process can be patented. But as such, AI or artificial intelligence will not be patented. The end result of using that AI can be patented. So it should be in physical form, either product or a machine or apparatus or process.
Okay. Thank you.
So can we go to the next talk now? The Ranti talk by Gitanjali Radhakrishnan. We'll take up the other eligibility questions after her talk. Gitanjali is the founder and director at Agivio Diagnostics Private Limited. She is a fellow at Judge Business School, and she had done Cambridge Entrepreneurship and Advanced Leadership MBA in Quality Management at BITS Pilani. She is a BTech in Engineering and Shastra University from July 2007 to July 2011. She is bioengineer by background with prior experience in research and worked as a software developer for 4 years. She hails from the hills where access to healthcare is at least 100 kilometers away. And she felt that her background would be better utilized to develop healthcare solutions for low resource settings in India. She founded Agivio Diagnostics with a vision to bring high-end diagnostics and make it more accessible to healthcare settings in India. And she is a founder and CEO of a medical device startup that develops point-of-care diagnostic devices in healthcare customized for low-resource setting. I request Gitanjali to please give pointers for success at BIG.
Sure. Can you enable my...
Yes, just give me a second.
Yeah. Before that, hi everyone. So I'm Gitanjali, founder of Adivo, and I'm a bioengineer by background. I have a startup which is 6 years old, and we started our project, and right now we have a product that's out in the market through BIG, SIBRI, and currently also applied for BIPP. So BIRAC has been an integral part of our journey, and we applied our BIG through Venture Center. So I hope some of the, I'll be able to give you a real-time scenario of how we went about application and what are the major things that we focused on. So I have a quick presentation. Yeah, I hope you can see my screen.
It's still saying sharing.
Okay. Now it's okay?
We're still not able to see. Now we can. Yeah.
Okay, great. Yeah. So our focus at Adivo is to bring in label diagnostics where we don't require any kind of I'll just switch my video to improve the bandwidth. Yeah. So so we bring in label diagnostics where there's no access to healthcare or manpower who are trained. We want to build in technologies that is completely imaging solution. So what we are essentially working on, of course, right now we are a 24 plus employee company. We have an ISO certified medical device manufacturing facility in Chennai, and we're also funded by impact investors. I'm a bioengineer and my co-founder is a PhD in optoelectronics. We do have a very strong advisory committee headed by Samit Brahmachari, who's known as the father of genomics, and Professor Schultz from University of Florida. And currently the main thing that we are looking at is into the global acute chronic traumatic wound market, where visual inspection and culture method is the gold standard. And this takes a long time and requires trained vascular surgeons, plastic surgeons who are predominantly present in a tier 1 city. So we want to address this gap of identifying infections and other vascular abnormalities that happens in a wound non-invasively, and this is what we aim at. So we focus on all different, starting from burns, diabetic foot ulcers, surgical site infections, and all of that. So what we have developed is a point of care device. As you can see, with a click of a button, it captures multispectral images in different gaps. And there is an artificial intelligence algorithm that runs on the device itself. And it tells you within 2 minutes the gram type of bacteria that is infecting. And also the vascular status is something we are currently working on. The device has more than 92% accuracy. It is printed. So we started with our one provisional patent. And then now we had filed close to 6, out of which the first patent is granted in India and other are pending. Also, with the help of SIBRI, we did do a multi-centric trial, and post which we had commercialized in the market. So here are some quick pointers when I had applied to BIG. So the first time when I had applied for a different problem statement, it was of course rejected. And that was a great starting point for us to understand BIRAC and BIG committee really looks at your proposal. What was important was we have a good assessment of other technologies that are present in the market that could solve the problem much more better than what we are doing. So that's why my first one got rejected. Also, lack of market understanding. So we thought this could be a potential problem, but that was not the case. Of course, BIG committee has very strong background in different fields, from microbiology to someone in wound care. Someone will be sitting on with a good market expertise, material science, food and agriculture. So they come from various backgrounds. So us having a very good understanding of the market and if the problem really exists is a very, very important factor to consider. So typically, your problem statement should focus on the market size, how the problem is. It could be in terms of the number of people affected, number of people who are wrongly treated, or the number of how big the impact of the issue is, and what is the current gold standard, and what are the limitations of the gold standard. While we are at that, it's also important that you do a detailed competitor assessment, and it need not be only the technology in the market, but it which has a patent in place, or at least they are filed for a patent, and you see that they are publishing a lot of research articles out there and they are making some noise out there. It's very important that we have a detailed understanding of the competitive landscape so that we will be able to project exactly what our solution is and where is our main novelty and use case lies in. So once we have sufficiently explained the problem statement, again, we have to keep this brief because the solution is what the committee is looking for. So solution has to focus on your working principle. Ensure you do add in the literature articles at least as a supporting statement in your slide deck so they do understand where it is coming from. the methodology on, if it's not a device or something, you please mention the methodology of how you're achieving this, the value proposition, how it is different from your competitors, and the potential impact it could create. Again, keep this crisp. And since I had applied through Venture Center, they did help me in fine-tuning, refining it multiple times to make sure it is crisp to the point and does not go in a roundabout way. Another important factor they look for prototypes that you have. If you have anything like to add it as a separate slide with just the image of a prototype and what it does it combine of. If it's early proof of concept, it could also be your lab studies which showed good results. Also keep that slide, have sufficient slides as a backup, so that if there are additional queries that come in, they can also refer to that. And while applying for BIG, you will get an opportunity to upload a slide deck as well. Ensure your slide deck has a detailed understanding of your different experiments and the main key results that are published, to ensure that whatever idea you're proposing, it's capable of having a fruitful BIG. And the last is your is a scientific background. If there are any pathways you need to explain, you need to explain how this particular thing works, and have some literature that are already published, please feel free to add that as well, to give them the confidence that whatever solution you're proposing is achievable. The next comes an important topic which was covered in today's discussion is novelty. Now, BIG supports novel solutions, either it is first ever in India or first ever in the entire world. If it is first ever in India, you have to ensure how better is it than what is available, how it is substituting an import substitution, and what is novel in your aspect. You cannot merely copy what is being there done globally, but it should be novel. So the first thing what I did for patent assessment, I had applied, we did get a patent assessment done on prior art search, at least for the Indian market, from Venture Center's IP cell team. This assessment was very important for us when we had written our BIG grant as well, where we had mentioned what are the prior arts that are closely matching to the solution we are proposing. And we had also explained to them how our technology is available once in a single slide. So that gave the confidence to the committee that we are aware of the prior arts. We did engage in a detailed, an IP, we did take guidance from an IP cell, and we also knew what is the freedom to operate in India. And we also had patents which were applied but not granted, and these patents were somebody to watch out for. Now the cost to get these assessment, at least for India, is somewhere below 10K to 15K. And it's a worth investment to do, because at this point when you apply for BIG, you may feel like you're a very small person to apply, or rather you don't know how sure of the idea is. But trust me, post BIG, you will really appreciate the investment you made in terms of the patent assessment that you had got. Because when I had applied for my technology, little did I know that the IP was completely new and it was first ever in the entire world. So that kind of investment was worth doing. Second thing, we can also internally look at our closest competitors. I'm sure by now you would have done a lot of literature searches. You would have understood what are the closest competing companies. So if we search just using a Google patent, normal search with the company name, you will get in the closest patents that are available out there. So you can also ensure that how you can position your solution different from what they are doing. And if you have some funds available, you can take some legal IP law firm opinion on how you can structure your claims or structure your invention. Now, the important aspect is if you can file a provisional patent before you apply for BIG, it's a big plus point. A provisional patent gives you an understanding of, you have this particular idea in mind and it would take you 1 year to further improve on, and then you file a complete specification. That's a better position to be at when you apply for BIG, because that would have, the provisional would have covered all the prior arts, at least to some extent, when you have applied in the Indian Patent Office, and they don't cost a lot of money. So this is mainly on the novelty aspect. Bringing it out very clearly is very important. The next point is advisors. When you apply for BIG, many of you would apply as a single person. It's very important that you have an advisory team. At least the end user should be on your advisory committee, who strongly feels that the solution you're offering can make his life easier. So having, in my case, since our device combined both optics, electronics, and machine learning, so one of you had asked how artificial intelligence can be patented. We wrote a system and a method patent. The system covered the hardware architecture, and the method covered the artificial intelligence, which helps the system in order to do a required kind of diagnostics or screening. So that's how we had structured it. Now for advisors, we had because it was a wound care market, we did show champions, KOLs, that is key opinion leaders, who's identifying at least few of them and having on your advisory board will really bring credibility in your application. And also add 1 or 2 testimonials if possible, which can explain them that this is a problem and such a solution can impact them in a big way. At least have something of that in your backup slide or in your advisory slide will really bring in credibility. And having a basic understanding of the regulatory requirements and path to market, because BIG definitely wants, BIRAC definitely wants your product post BIG to be commercialized, or at least you should have a path to market where you will apply for SIBRI or you will apply for other funding agencies and VCs to take your product to market. So having an understanding of the market is at least a go-to-market strategy as one of your slides is again important for the committee to understand how serious are you about commercializing this and creating an impact to either in the global market or the Indian market. So these are my basic suggestions. One important point is when you had applied, when you are applying for a provisional patent, you would be, please, if you already have a company incorporated, please do apply it in the company name. Of course, your inventors can be your team members or yourself. This would save costs when you are converting into a complete specification, and this IP will also add as an asset to your company. The second important point, which I really felt was an important takeaway point for all of you, is when the patent is in the company name and the inventors are your team members, before you file your PCT, that is to ensure that you're going to file in different countries, or before you file it to, when you convert it into a complete specification, please do have an agreement in place that all the inventors have assigned the patent to the company, because this is mandatory. Even if you have a patent filed in the company name, it's always better to have an assignment agreement between the inventors and the company. This is very key, and this needs to be executed before the complete specification or before the PCT filing date. So this is just one takeaway point, which I thought would have been useful if I had known earlier. Happy to take any queries that any of you have.
If you want, you can post your queries, or you can ask, you can raise your hand or ask questions
I
now.
wanted to ask Gitanjali. So when you applied for BIG, you already had a POC, working POC, or was it still in the idea stage kind of?
Yeah, so we had a very small prototype where there was no AI integrated and all, but at least the prototype gave in a confidence that this is how the optics will be arranged and this is how imaging will be done in my case.
And did you had some validation from your end users?
Yes. So we did have 2 or 3 doctors by then. Because the second time when I applied for BIG, I did speak to a number of hospitals, understood the problem statement before applying for BIG, because the second time I really wanted to crack it. So I did have at least 3 doctors on my, advisory board. Yeah.
Hi, Gitanjali.
Hi.
Gitanjali, this time I'm actually applying for this BIG project, which is due on, I think, 16th of August, last day of submission. Yeah, so, yeah, and I'm applying for that. So basically, when I was going through your, in fact, since morning I've been watching this, you spoke about this problem statement and solution, prototype, and scientific background, that your first slide. So this they have given us the form which has to be filled.
Correct.
We just started with the basic data and personal thing, and because now these things what you have told, when do we have to say these, or this is already included in that form?
Yeah, so I still remember only my BIG form. I hope it's still the same. But there is a section where you can give in additional information, and that additional information is your presentation. So this presentation, if you already have spent enough number of time to refine and upload, it will help the reviewers to look at it in a much more easier way, because your application is one, which will talk about your rationale behind it, what is the novelty, what is the problem, and I think it will also ask about the impact and how the market is and things like that. But there will be the slides as well, which are important, and Venture Center did refine it for me when I uploaded it, because that was where that I think the reviewer can also look at it at a much more easier way, where you have images also in it to explain your technology much better, because it's a presentation that you can upload as a PDF. That is what I was mainly describing in my pointers, in my slides.
Okay, because this time the place where they talk about this proposal details. So, proposal details. No, at the end of that, they have format. Download this format. Download this thing. So in that, I saw there is a slide presentation also. Like they have given what and all to be included in that.
Yes.
So.
Yes. So pay attention to that is what I was telling, because it gives them a flavor of everything other than the queries also, and that is very important.
And I like this testimonial thing. That really is a very good thing and very attractive.
Yes.
Okay, thank you, Gitanjali.
Sure. In fact, my mentor was from DPU as well. So yeah.
Okay.
Gitanjali, this is Gautam from Mumbai.
Sure.
Yeah, this testimonials and getting advisors. I mean, how do we? I mean, what? Suppose now I've got a concept. I got a product. That it's not that the technology is not known. The technology is known. It is being imported from outside India. I'm developing the technology in India, and there will be a certain distinction from what is being imported.
Sure.
I cannot make a claim to fame that I've invented it. No, not at all. It is already there in the world. But my distinction is there. So, number one, will that qualify for a BIG grant? One. Secondly, that this distinction solves a major problem in India. The problem which I'll be solving is a major problem for the hospitality industry, hotel industry. So will that if I get a written letter from the top people in the trade, who are very well-known people in the trade, that yes, this kind of thing can help solve problems in the hotel industry, will that help?
Yeah, so it will add in credibility, okay, and you should also explain, is it the cost that you're bringing down, or is it the time that you're bringing down, or is it under the Atma Nirmar Bharat, where you are actually making it in India? Of course, keep in mind if you have freedom to operate. So you can add in a slide where you say, this is what the industry experts are saying, that if such a technology is being developed, it will be a great boon for them and reduces the impact. And the imports, it will bring down the import substitution. That will definitely help. At least it will help the committee in understanding you're serious about it and you have a market and the key leaders are talking about it.
Correct. So see, my one biggest distinction is that what I'll be developing is at 50% cost of what is getting imported.
Sure. So you can tell the cost wise. And
Yeah.
I think that if you have freedom to operate, great, but definitely the committee or the reviewer will look at how novel it is, or at least there has to be some element of uniqueness over the existing technology. So
Wonderful.
that also has to come in.
Wonderful. Is it possible that I can connect with you later on?
Sure, I can share my email ID. I'll be happy to, if I'm of guidance.
Yeah, please. That will be of great help. Thank you.
Sure.
Yeah, so Gitanjali has posted her email ID in the chat box. So please feel to reach out to her. Gitanjali, I think you gave a very insightful talk. You know, all the really small tips and pointers that really matter, you have explained them well. And with your personal experience, it really adds a lot of value for people who are, you know, in similar shoes which you were a few years back. So they're in the same path, and that helps them to relate to what they can do and what they should look out for. That was a really good talk. So,
Thank you.
Yeah, so I would request.
Added value.
Yeah, you did. I mean, I was listening to every word you said, and it was really well said. I would request all the speakers and the collaborators that we have here today for a quick picture. If anybody is from ISER Pune, Seed Foundation, VNIT Nagpur, Deshpande Foundation, DPU Foundation, Pune, Venture Studio, Ahmedabad University, EEY University, Anna University. Meghna, are you there?
Yes.
Yes, I'll just also share today's talk flyer, and along with that, you can take a quick picture. You can. Just a second. Yeah. So we are ready. You can take our pictures, please. Let me know when you're done.
I've taken one with the screen. I'll take it with the speakers as well. So, yeah. Okay, done. Thank you, everyone.
Excellent session, Pallavi.
Thank you.
Dr Shalini and Purva. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I guess, Pallavi, there are a few questions in the chat box and you're on mute. There was one question for...
Yes, we'll take some of the questions that were there, that were posted earlier. So I think Harish was asking how one can get incubated, how an individual can get incubated. That was the one question from Harish.
Yeah, so where are you located, Harish, if you're there? Harish, you're on mute. Okay, so Bangalore, I think C Camp is there. You can visit the incubator, and you can or you can write to them, and they will be ready to give you a letter of intent first. And every incubator has their own procedure for incubating. So you can write to the chosen incubator, and they'll help you with this.
Yeah. So in Bangalore, you will have BBC or IKP Eden. Both of them can help you out with. First, what you need to do is find out if whatever percentages you require for validation or building your prototype, if they are available in that incubation center, and you can write to them and they'll help you with the formalities. There's also one question on I think Arun Kumar had asked about the medical implantable device. Can the product be a device? Yes, it can be. Which involves surgical procedures for increasing the survival of cancer patients. That's possible. It's novel, clinical, and how about the success rate for this kind of products in BIG? Would you want to talk about this, Shalini?
So success rate differs with each and every themes. So theme-wise, they do the selection. So they have different committee for diagnostic, for drugs, for agriculture, IBT. So the number of proposal falling under these themes and success rate, every call differs. So really can't comment on that.
I have one point on that there are a lot of proposals that come in for devices and diagnostics. So there are a huge number of applications that come in for that, and it is very competitive. So you need to really bring out the differentiation of your prototype or your device with the rest of the market, what is available. So you need to make sure that you get above, a certain score, because, so that you're at the higher end of the, scoring pattern, so that you can be sure you can cross the online review point and come for the technical evaluation panel committee round. So that is what I would advise. Yeah, so Shilpa, the products that were shown by Shalini were not medical devices. They were related to healthcare, but not all of them were devices.
Yeah, not all.
Yeah, they were related to IBT or waste to waste management and getting value to that of that. So how can you elaborate on how one can sign an MOU with venture center? So like Shalini said, you can approach venture center incubation team and they can help you with the MOU. So as an individual, people need to get incubated at incubation centers for BIG, but you don't have to get incubated. When you write an BIG application, you can get an LOI, and once you get BIG, then you can get incubated and then sign the MOU at that point in time. So are there any other questions that I have to address, I think? So Harish, if you're not registered as a startup, that is also fine. You can apply as an individual as well. So are there any other questions you have? You can always reach out to us. And
I think there is one question left from Arpit. Did you take? Thank you for the presentation. I would like to know if there are specific resources available for patent IP related knowledge specific to biotechnology.
I have messaged to Arpit. Arpit, no? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Purvashri has responded to Arpit.
Okay, so then we have taken all the questions.
Yeah, you can email us also, Arpit.
In Delhi, there is FITT. So you can, if you want, if that is related to incubator.
Hi, Pallavi.
Hello.
Pallavi, I just wanted to ask you one question, that when do you plan to set up your startup? What is the meaning of this? There was a question in that form. So what do you expect us to write?
Okay. So if you are applying as an individual, and when is it that you plan to apply, get converted from an individual to startup? Because the reason they're asking is they want to see that this product is commercialized and taken forward. And usually investors will invest money in companies and not individuals.
And there are also royalty terms which have come up. So you will need to form a startup. So that is why that question has been added.
So we could form a company even after you get BIG grant. Once you, in principle, if you get a BIG grant, at that point also you can apply for being a company. I mean, rather, let me put it that way. At that point also you can set up your own startup and then take the BIG project through it.
Okay, so that will happen. We don't know whether we are going to get the grant or we don't, or whatever, right? So that's
Right.
the future. But as of now, today, I'm filling up a form, and I have to write something there. So can I write that after 18 months?
Yes, you can write.
Yeah,
Sir.
yes, you can write.
You can
But
write.
your project, because anything whatever is going to happen will happen after 18 months only, right?
Yes, you can write so.
Thank you.
Not after 18 months, actually, it will be after the selection is done. So when the due diligence part is there, which is conducted by the partner, that time you will have to form the company. So approximate, you can say 6 months. So if you get selected, the results will be out within 6 months. And in that due diligence process, you have to form a company.
Okay.
So before you start your BIG project, you have to have a company.
Okay. So is there any provision to change the answer, which has already been uploaded?
Okay, you have already, it might not be submitted, it would be saved, I think.
No, it's done. It's written done.
Okay, no worries, it's okay. That can be reconsidered again when we are doing the due diligence part.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Yeah.
Pallavi ma'am, this is Zafar this side from DPU Foundation for Innovation Entrepreneurship.
Yes,
Ma'am, in my capacity as a manager, often a lot of my faculties who are primarily clinicians and wanting to get into a startup venture, they have this query that most of the BIG schemes that we have are particularly catering towards either a biotech or a bioinformatic sector. So as a clinician, let's say if I want to build up a startup on providing medical services, which are not particularly having a tech term attached to it, but is definitely capable enough to capture a ground on the basis of its medical services provided. So can they still be eligible to apply for such kind of grants at BIG, or do we have a separate division to look into these things?
I'll ask Shalini to answer that question.
Service, if you have any kind of service which you are going to provide or any technology or product, you can definitely apply under this scheme.
Okay. Okay. This is in this particular stream.
Yeah, you should be able to bring out the novelty in the service though. If it is like that is already available, then probably it may not qualify for BIG in the novelty part.
Yeah, and if you want to discuss in details about your proposal, you can write to us or call us. We can refine that accordingly and apply.
Wonderful.
So I've shared the email address and mobile number on the chat box.
Yeah. Yes, ma'am, I got that. Yeah. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Yeah. So Gautam, with respect to your question, if you have Nidhi Prayas or MSME grant, yes, you can apply for BIG. Okay. It's the only thing is that once you get BIG, you shouldn't get BIG for the same project as Nidhi Prayas. The scope has to be a little different. So if you've validated you've just created a proof of principle in Nidhi Prayas and you want to go for POC in BIG grant, you can do that. But at the same time, you can't get the 2 grants for the same scope of project.
Okay, so the proof in principle, if it's being approved by Nidhi Prayas, we can still go and apply for BIG grant to make it better.
Yes, to validate or build a prototype, you can go with the same thing. But we have a different scope. You can't have the same scope. That's the difference.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah. Thank you so much. I think it's been 2 hours and everybody is still very active with questions and they're still staying on. It's very good to know that now people must be really hungry. So we should end this program, and we do have a talk coming up next week, Friday, same time, 11 o'clock, on value proposition, because that also is a very important part of BIG application. How do you create your product market fit, and how do you show them that there is value proposition in your project? So please do attend that as well. If you've registered for this talk, we would be sending the Zoom links for the other one. But if you know anybody else, please encourage them to register for the next week's talk as well. I thank all the collaborating partners here. Thank you so much for being here and promoting BIG Awareness talk.
Yeah, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am. This session will be available on YouTube, right? Can you give a link?
Yes, it is available on YouTube, and I have already sent the YouTube link to all the participants. So you can check it. If you don't get it, you let me know. I will send it to you individually. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you, Pallavi ma'am.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Yeah. Thank you all.